Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Zach, aka Keats39 here to bring you another NFL showdown. Um, I apologize if you hear banging downstairs or working on the room downstairs. So um, hopefully it doesn't come in too much. Um, but have a really gross game here between the Jets and the Colts. Um, Colts are, I believe, 10.5 point favorites. But the Jets are coming off a really big win against the Cincinnati Bengals under a new quarterback. So, going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. I do like the Colts probably to cover, but 10.5 is a lot of points. So for Carson Wentz. So, going to go ahead and start with the Colts here. Jonathan Taylor, by far my favorite player on the slate. He's starting to really get going. Scored in 5 straight games. Gets a really good matchup. 27th or 18th ranked rush defense, which isn't crazy. But in a game that they're going to be leading, the Colts are finally healthy on the offensive line. I just think that total smash spot, really good pass catcher as well, as we all know. So it's going to be interesting because I really wanted, not fully, but I really wanted Marlon Mack to get traded at the deadline. I think he's a solid player, obviously not in the tier of Jonathan Taylor. And obviously Nightingham's always going to have a role. I am going to say I am a little nervous for Jonathan Taylor because this does feel like a spot that Marlon Mack probably gets to play some. Turn that off. But it does feel like a spot he's going to get to play some. I could see like this week 4 type usage from these running backs. So that part does scare me. But even so, I think that Jonathan Taylor probably does his work in his limited snaps. Hopefully we get to 75%, but I do think that Marlon Mack is a very playable punt here. So, that's how I'm going to treat that. Next, we get Carson Wentz. He's playing really weird football. He's been playing solid. Last week, went back to his Carson Wentz ways, threw some really bad picks. But like before, he did like a 14-1 TD pick ratio. He's been really good this year. Especially considering the options he has. Like they're terrible at the wideout spot. Michael Pittman, very solid receiver. Everyone else, not so much. Including tight ends. The tight ends are very average players too. Yeah, I like Carson Wentz here. It's the decision on the slate is kind of like, do we play these pass catching guys in the game they're going to lead, or do we play like the Jets guys coming from behind? I really haven't decided my strategy yet. I think I prefer Wentz over Mike White and Pittman as well, but that's going to be probably a last-second decision that I make. Pittman, I love T.Y. I'm sorry, Michael Pittman with T.Y. Hilton out. He's just been really good, really efficient. We've seen literally all outcomes. He's been scoring touchdowns the last couple games, 4 touchdowns in his last 4 games. Really kind of showing his alpha status. So I think Jonathan Taylor, definitely my favorite play. I'm gonna guess I go with one of these guys. Might try to jam 2, but that is my guess as of now. Zac Pascal, don't love him. As you see, he hasn't been great. But I think he is very much in play here. When you look at these snap counts, like 94%, 96% from these two. So they're going to be out there pretty much every play. Zac Pascal has a knack for getting in the end zone. So the mid-range is very tough here today. If you go, it's not downstairs. If you go look at all these guys, like nobody stands out. So you're probably gonna have to pick one. If you go, he's probably the safest side of these. Actually, I think Crowder's probably my favorite, the safest. Actually, I guess it's just kind of if you land here is where I'm going to say I like him because like I like Michael Carter a lot. I like Jameson Crowder a lot. I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, like Pascal I prefer over the tight ends for sure. I prefer Naeem Hines for sure. Probably prefer kicker for a point per dollar value, but yeah, that's how I feel on that one. Look at these tight end snaps. Like it's pretty gross. 62% for Doyle last week. It's like back and forth. Like 1 week Doyle will play 60, 1 week Cox will play 60. They're both in play just because they score TDs. They do that. But they're very much TD or bust. And at this price, like no thanks. Like give me the kicker that's guaranteed points. So yeah. Jack Colts defense very much in play. You know how I feel about defenses. I don't play them in showdowns. I hate defenses in fantasy. But in this spot, like I don't think anyone's gonna play them because of the Mike White game last game. And I don't think that's necessarily right. Like Mike White is not he's not as good as what his game was last week. I'm all here for rooting for him, but I am not expecting that to continue. So yeah, I think they're in play. So two I held out, Paris Campbell and IR. You do have some value here. Ashton Doolin, even though you see all these the zeros, but he has 4 targets. Last week he played 36% of this, 36% of stuff, 63% the week before. So yeah, I do expect him to play a fair amount of snaps, probably in the 50 to 70 range, anywhere from in there. And when you look at his player profiler, it's really good. Like Justin Watson's one of those guys that a bunch of dynasty gurus really liked. So it's a good comparison. 98th percentile breakout age, was really, really good in college. 99 percentile dominator. Obviously didn't go to a very good school in Malone. But very fast, good speed score, like very athletic. I think he's a very good punt here. Like him versus Marlon Mack, I think like I'll take him in cash. Marlon Mack, I think probably has the better, I guess for similar upsides. Because he could just break a long one. So yeah, I really do like Ashton Doolin. I think Michael Strachan's in play as well. Seems like Doolin is definitely ahead of him. But the beginning of the year, it was Strachan ahead of him, and Ashton Doolin hasn't been doing very much as of late. So Strachan, who was really good in the preseason, I could see him overtaking him. I think it's worth a stab in the GPP, but definitely prefer Doolin and Marlon Mack over them. So yeah, that's how I feel about the Colts. The Jets are the way tougher part. Mike White priced up to 9.8K. Originally, I thought I really liked him. I'm coming down on that a little bit. I don't think he matches up very well against the Colts. I don't know. I also think that defense is going to be ready for the style. Like I didn't watch the whole game last week, but the times I was watching, it was literally check down. And you could see it in the box scores when you look at their stats. So I think I prefer definitely Carson Wentz. I think I prefer Pittman too. But yeah, and those guys are on the same range. Like I get playing Mike White because of game theory. They're 10.5 point dogs. So I think he's fine, just not a lock. Like don't expect 400 yards and 3 touchdowns again. But Michael Carter, I really do like. I think he's mispriced. You see his usage as of late; it's pretty incredible. Look at the snap counts here. Playing 70, probably gonna play 70% of the snaps, and then 30% from Ty Johnson, then a couple plays here and then from Michael Pirine. But yeah, it's gonna be this too. He's been Mike White's favorite target by a mile. 14 targets last game, 9 targets the game before. Just for PPR standpoints that DraftKings is, it's like really tough to not like him. I do think the Colts will be more prepared for this type of offense this time. But with that said, like I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't have 5 catches here tonight, as well as 12 to 15 rushes. So getting 20 touches in a matchup that I don't think is great. I even think it's not as good as this number says. But from a floor ceiling standpoint, it's really tough not to play Mike White here. Or Michael Carter, sorry. So my favorite target is definitely Jamison Crowder of the receivers. So just go ahead and break this down. This is kind of really gross when you look at this. Mims led the team in snap counts. We're going to get to him. Keelan Cole, 65%. Crowder, 60%. But with that being said, Jamison Crowder does run those way more efficient passing routes that Mike White likes. Really short over the middle. So yeah, I definitely prefer Jamison Crowder, sorry, even in the limited snap counts that he has. But yeah, the rest of the guys, when you look at it, they're all very cheaply priced to the point where you can very much consider them. Keelan Cole, 2,400. Denzel Mims, 2K. Both these guys are playing 70% of snaps, so I think it'd be a mistake to just not consider them, even if they're not running the type of pass routes that you necessarily like. And that's we'll go look at we all know everyone that plays dynasty leagues knows how much this guy graded out. Sorry, my dog. But yeah, Chris Godwin, best comparable, just dominated college at Baylor. Freak athlete. His hands are incredible. It's really weird how he's not really working out. Baylor wide receivers just because they run certain routes, they do certain things that is not really comparable to NFL. They're very much streaks and slants. But I think I don't think it's like it can't work. Like we saw that was DK Metcalf's big negative. But yeah, I mean, at 2K, he played 70% of snaps last week. What do you fish with target wise? 3 targets. It's tough. It's really, really tough. But in a GPP standpoint, down 10-point dogs, as we said. And I'll even go as far as saying like last week was like probably one of the most positive game scripts that the Jets are going to have all year. So that being like, I think that they're very much at play down here. Yeah, I think that's kind of. I'll talk about Elijah Moore. He's my favorite out of the receivers, like talent wise. Him and Denzel Mims close, but this is really, really weird. 36% of snaps, like use that high of a draft pick. I do understand. I do think he's a slot receiver, so Crowder and him, like it's tough for them to share the field. And I love Elijah Moore. I think as soon as Crowder's gone, he's going to be really, really good. But until then, like 6.2, he's just not really in play at all. Kicker, I always like both the kickers as always. Let me look at Tyler Kroft's snap count. Yeah, Tyler Kroft and Ryan Griffin kind of split snaps as I expected. Although earlier before he's injured, Kroft was playing, I guess, kind of back and forth, but excuse me. Yeah, Kroft is the same boat as the Colts tight ends. He's a tight end or touchdown or bust, as we've always seen from Tyler Kroft. So yeah, that's gonna do it. As always, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. It's a really gross slate, but there are options to make some builds that you can feel decent about. So to me, it kind of comes down to which stud you pay for. Like you're probably playing Jonathan Taylor, and then you probably pick 2, maybe 3 others, and then play one of the 2 of these punts. So yeah, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on Monday. Later.